So Indigo Prophecy, also known as Fahrenheit and PAL regions, was the first interactive story game released by Quantic Dream, who's best known for the masterpiece Heavy Rain. While Indigo Prophecy isn't quite as brilliant, people still tend to overlook it. It maintains some of the studio's trademarks such as timed dialogue options, determinate story factors, QuickTime events, and bumping into walls a lot. The story has a lot of great ideas, but doesn't know what to do with half of them, so it ultimately becomes a huge flaw. So the game begins with the main character named Lucas Kane as he becomes possessed by an evil prophet and brutally stabs a man to death in a diner restroom. From there, the player has a few moments to either clean up the evidence as best they can, or dash out the door without a second thought. After that, Lucas is wanted for murder, all the while trying to figure out what caused him to do it. The other primary characters you control are Police Inspector Carla Valenti and her partner Sergeant Tyler Miles, who are investigating the case, and each of them have a lot of interesting character traits, while the voice acting is alright in terms of delivery. Lucas, who is completely distraught over the murder, has premonitions and nightmarish visions that haunt him, such as giant green lice that try to kill him. It's pretty silly, but I'd be willing to excuse it if the story was delving into the unstable mind of a psychopath in denial, but nope! It's all about an evil Mayan prophet who uses Lucas to sacrifice victims in order to cross realities. I did hear from people that the story would suffer a huge downfall halfway through, but I never thought David Cage would do something this ridiculous, which really sucked because I was really getting involved in the murder mystery, but then the plot got really silly. Come to think of it, some of the same problems were present in Beyond Two Souls as well. I mean, if you're going to make your characters this relatable and emotionally invested, then why can't their problems be as well? QuickTime events are also very frequent, but they come in the form of this awkward game of Simon, where you have to jerk the analog sticks in the right directions. Sometimes these events can drag on for at least 5 minutes, and give you little room for screw-ups. However, I have to draw the awkwardness line when you make sex a QuickTime event. Any romantic relationship seems very forced for the sake of the plot, and they just disregard any development of character. But hey, be thankful the PS2 and Xbox didn't feature motion controls, I mean, good god. Dialogue functions the same way as Cage's other games, but there's this strange thing where you control a conversation between two characters. For example, when Lucas talks to his brother, you will randomly control dialogue options from both of them, and the game never makes it clear as to which one will be speaking. It's a little clumsy, at least from a narrative perspective. Speaking of narrative, the ending is awful. Without giving away too much, they really take a bad turn by changing way too much towards the end far too quickly, to a point where it seems like a totally different story. It could work if the game was dragged out longer and gave a more reasonable transition so it wouldn't feel like such a cluttered mess. All of this makes it sound like I really hate the game, but I'm actually pretty torn on it. I was honestly hoping it would be that one piece of brilliance, since Beyond Two Souls had countless plot holes, and even Heavy Rain had a few, and while Indigo Prophecy isn't nearly as depressing as the two, it still has some good things worth mentioning. There's this cool mechanic where you have to manage each character's mental health by doing things such as eating, urinating, and listening to music to increase their mental state, while it will also diminish each time they get stressed out. If their mental health depletes completely, they will fail the story and can even become suicidal. It's pretty cool that you were given this sort of personal control, but I never felt as invested in them as I was with Heavy Rain's characters. Say what you'd like about David Cage, some people say he's an egotist or a bad writer, but I think he has a lot of brilliance in conveying a specific understanding of life, whether it be love, sacrifice, or death, but when he tries to put ordinary people into unreal situations, it really distracts. So as a whole, I'm glad I played it, and I'll probably give it another go in the future. I should also mention that it's also available for iOS for a decent price. If everyone else loves it despite its flaws, I'm perfectly okay with it. There are some good things, a lot of bad, so I hope I'm not the only one who sees it this way. Because as far as the rest of the world is concerned, I'm just a stubborn critic.
Yo, you D up pretty good for a white cop.
You ain't so bad yourself. You got some game.
Maybe I should have mentioned, I did some ball at college. So, as for the 100, it's game over, man.
You're a real SOB, Tyler.
I know, and that's why you like me, Jeffrey.